Hey there everyone, and welcome back. We're doing 30 days of radical acceptance here. We just completed the lessons of A Course in Miracles, and now we're into the manual for teachers. So this morning the guidance that I got was, Sherry, open the book. I didn't get a download, I didn't get a new teaching, but I got the opportunity to go within and read what the manual for teachers was communicating on the third section and meditate on that and feel into what is it that I'm supposed to be, taking away from this. And the statement that came to me was, it feels like a devotional, really kind of like inward focused statement. I promise to reflect on all teaching and learning situations, because the title of this section is about the levels of teaching. So today we're going to focus on accepting what is with a smile, because this could be a little bit challenging or confronting, but this is real. This is where we once again come into this awareness of, we have this oversoul, this higher self that is supporting and loving and guiding us through our time here as we walk the planet Earth together. All right. So when we talk about these levels of teaching, what it's really talking about is relationships. And relationship is the meat and potatoes of our human experience, right? Everything that is happening to us in our lives has something to do with being in relationship with other humans, with other, friends, brothers, whatever you want to call it. We're here with others. We're looking around and, here's plenty of opportunities for learning. And so when it comes to these teaching learning situations, we're looking at relationships. So I pulled out a couple of statements, and then I'll get into some more of the teaching. Even at the level of the most casual encounters, it is possible for two people to lose sight of separate interests, if only for a moment. That moment will be enough. Salvation has come. So I really focused in on this idea of losing sight of separate interests, this idea of separation. We, using our free will, decided to separate from God and have this experience. However, when we pause and acknowledge and have gratitude for moments where we no longer have separate interests, and we sort of combine, we notice the sinlessness of our brothers and sisters and combine into a beautiful moment with another human, that is salvation. And that is a moment to celebrate. So I think that what we need to do is just acknowledge it and not let it pass by. Really smile from your heart. It's funny. Gratitude is the smile of the heart. That's what my tank top says this morning. And smiling from your heart at those moments of salvation, because these relationships truly are a gift, even if they hurt, even if there are times when these chance encounters don't turn out well. There's something about not having your separate interests for a period of time, whatever the judgment is around how that situation turned out, that is salvation. And celebrating that, I think, is something for us to look forward to during this new year with setting forth our 2023 energy. So, it's a little, it feels a little like it's work, but I think it really isn't. I think it's just training your mind to have that awareness of knowing that there really are no chance encounters, which they get into in the teaching. But when you have those experiences of losing sight of separate interest while you're in relationship with another being, that is a miracle. That is worth acknowledging, having gratitude for, and just, highlighting as something new that you've added to your own personal curriculum. So I'll also read, in time, the teacher of God seems to begin to change his mind about the world with a single decision, which I think is to acknowledge when those salvation moments happen, and then learns more and more about the new direction as he teaches it. So you literally can change the course of your life by acknowledging those moments. So what this teaching does is it goes into different levels of relationships, and it explains, first off, that there are actually no casual encounters, because our higher self, our oversoul, is helping us with arranging, previously agreed upon meetings with other beings and kind of like assembling experiences and situations on the path in front of us as if we're in a linear experience, but you know what I'm saying. So there really are no chance encounters, but the chance is that we notice this idea of we no longer have separate interests, and that's a salvation moment. That's perhaps what the chance is. Are we conscious enough, aware enough, in the moment enough to notice these like salvation moments? So it's a little, I mean, I think you have to read this a couple times, but I get it, and I hope I'm conveying it well. So the simplest level of teaching appears to be quite superficial. It consists of what seem to be very casual encounters, a chance encounter, a chance meeting of two apparent strangers in an elevator, a child who is not looking where he is going, running into an adult by chance, two students happening to walk home together. These are not chance encounters. Each of them has the potential for becoming a teaching-learning situation. So the teaching-learning situation is acknowledging there is a loss of separate interests, salvation. Okay, so the next level of teaching is these sort of more like longer relationships. Using the term in this way, the second level of teaching is a more sustained relationship in which, for a time, two people enter into a fairly intense teaching-learning situation and then appear to separate. So, you know, you hear that saying about there's relationships that are a reason, a season, and a lifetime. So those are kind of like the season relationships. But then it goes on to say, yet all who meet will someday meet again, for it is the destiny of all relationships to become holy. So that's another thing to look forward to. In those relationships that are seemingly separate or ending, all relationships on our path, our journey back home, become holy at some point. So that, I think, that can help you not hold so much hurt in your heart around certain relationships, because they will all become holy. They will all have those moments, those salvation moments, that if we just kind of keep our consciousness, keep our newly trained mind kind of scanning for those kinds of events, we're going to get more out of our experience here incarnated in these human bodies. So now, the third level of teaching occurs in relationships which, once they are formed, are lifelong. So I would say spouses, children, people that you know your entire life, you know who these people are. These relationships are generally few because their existence implies that those involved have reached a stage simultaneously in which teaching-learning balance is actually perfect. This does not mean that they necessarily recognize this. And here's the fun part. In fact, they generally do not. They may even be quite hostile to each other for some time, and perhaps for life. So that's the rough news about this particular teaching. Yet should they decide to learn it, the perfect lesson is before them and can be learned. And if they decide to learn that lesson, they become the saviors of the teachers who falter and may even seem to fail. No teacher of God can fail to find the help he needs. So there you go, everyone. A little bit of reality check from the course, but it's another opportunity to see things differently this year. 2023 is a year of opening your mind up a little more, having that intention to raise your vibration, expand your consciousness, keep your mind open. So again, I'll read this thought for the day and we'll close out. I promise to reflect on all teaching, learning situations. So now you've been informed of the three types of relationships there are, so-called chance encounters, temporary relationships, and lifelong relationships. Have an awareness of all the teaching and learning opportunities that exist in these relationships so that you can have a more enriched life with more moments of gratitude and perhaps even deeper connection. Because if you're able to have discussions with this other being, if they're open to it, about what's really happening, who knows the depth that you could go with another being, another brother and sister who you see as sinless. And eventually, whether it works out or not during our time walking around on the planet, eventually all relationships will be holy. So don't despair. whatever seems like it's going horribly and you've tried everything and there's nothing that'll work, don't despair, because all relationships become holy at some point during our incarnational timeline. Lots of love to all. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again tomorrow.